Michael Jackson, Lil Kim, Meg Ryan, Madonna, Mickey Rourke. These are just a few celebrities who've transformed their faces to a point of being downright unrecognizable after undergoing several plastic surgery procedures, allegedly, because not all of them have admitted to having done work, but it's pretty obvious for anyone who has eyes and sight. So many of us look at these celebrities and we rightfully ask ourselves, like, why did they ruin their faces with all of this plastic surgery? So many of us look at their faces and just scratch our heads and just wonder how someone that was seemingly so beautiful could transform their face to a point where they no longer look like their normal selves. But what drives someone to go to such great lengths to completely alter their face? Today, I want to discuss the real reason why so many celebrities seem to be so obsessed with plastic surgery. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ashley Viola and I make videos that focus on analyzing different pop culture and social issues. Now today I want to talk about celebrities who have become unrecognizable after having had several plastic surgery procedures done. Now I do want to offer a brief disclaimer that the intent and the point of this video is not to drag these celebrities and to bully them and malign them and to say that they look horrible. This is not going to be a salacious video. The point of this video is to actually analyze the reason that my cat is photobombing me. Sir, young man, like, trying to film a video here.
A few moments later.
That's not the point of this video. The point of this video, though, is to analyze the reasoning behind why these celebrities decide to completely transform their faces. Obviously, no one is immune to altering their appearance in some way, shape, or form. A lot of us, including me, wear makeup, have dyed our hair, cut our hair, waxed our eyebrows, gotten facials to improve our skin, and the list goes on, right? But these obviously are minor and temporary changes that can be reversed. But today I want to talk about the excessive and permanent alteration of one's looks and why many celebrities simply go too far. I think perhaps the most obvious reason that one would think that someone would alter their face is because of insecurities. I wanted to start off by talking about some of the trauma and insecurities that many celebrities have experienced that have caused them to want to seek out cosmetic surgery. In his memoir, Michael Jackson describes the turbulent relationship that he had with his father, Joe Jackson. So in his memoir, Michael Jackson stated that he was really never able to have a real closeness with his father. And he said that Joe Jackson found it really hard to relate to his children beyond the family business. So really he was just acting more so as their manager or handler more so than a father. Michael also stated that him and his siblings had been physically harmed by his father with a belt or a switch. He also said that he fought back and he hid under tables to avoid his father. So obviously I think that that would cause anybody to have some form of identity issues. I am not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a mental health professional, but I think that it's easy to see from that would have caused Michael some trauma around his identity and family. And in a 1993 interview with Oprah Winfrey, Michael said that there had been times where he was so scared of his father that he would get sick and start to regurgitate when Joe had come to see him. And in 2003, his father admitted to having whipped him with a switch and a belt. And in a speech that was held at Oxford University in 2001, Michael Jackson said that his father had never shown him love. And Michael, of course, also stated that he missed out on a lot of his childhood because he started off as being a performer at such a young age. I think it goes without saying that if you look at the entire Jackson family, at least the ones that have a public career, from Janet to LaToya to Jermaine, they have clearly all altered their faces. So it seems to me, Again, not a mental health professional. I'm just speculating. I don't think that it's coincidental that the whole family has drastically altered their appearance. Janet, to a lesser degree, they've all partaken in some kind of alteration facially. And I do think that a lot of that stems from a traumatic family life and a low self-esteem due to that. And then of course there was the infamous Pepsi incident with Michael Jackson, where he was shooting the Pepsi commercial and the sparks went off and destroyed his hair and left him with like several bald spots. After that, he had to have reconstructive surgery, even though his scalp was really never the same, and he went on to wear hair pieces and extensions and wigs like throughout his career. And then of course there's just the small thing of being a global superstar, right? There's that small little thing of he's literally in the public eye, one of the most famous people like in the world, and constantly being on camera, constantly having to be the face of different products and stuff. Like, that's obviously going to cause someone to seek out surgery to a higher degree compared to someone who's a private citizen and does not have to constantly see themselves on camera all the time. So I'm sure that would obviously be a driving factor as well. And in the case of Lil Kim, in a 2000 interview, Lil Kim shared that she's faced insecurities for as long as she could remember, and her boyfriends kept cheating on her with, quote, European looking women and the long hair type. That obviously affected her self-esteem and affected the way that she then went on to alter herself because of that. Lil Kim has said that she felt like she couldn't compete as a, quote, regular black girl, and thought that she would never be good enough. She's also talked about the verbal harm that she has experienced at the hands of her father, and she says that it's always been men putting me down, just like my dad. So another traumatic family life that again would cause any person probably to have low self-esteem and insecurities. Lil Kim once said that to this day, when someone says I'm cute, I can't see it. I just don't see it no matter what anybody says. And that's so sad. Like a clear case of like body dysmorphia. She once said, it was like I could do nothing right. Everything about me was wrong. My hair, my clothes, just me. And in 2005 on a radio show, Lil Kim said that she had had her nose broken several times during a physically harmful, I can't say this word, confrontation with an ex-boyfriend, so that she had to get several nose jobs, rhinoplasties, whatever you want to call them, in order to correct her nose or fix her nose after it had been broken. It's so upsetting and so awful, and I hate that happened to her. I think in addition to having to get constant reparative surgeries, Lil Kim and many others who have gone too far was trying to see the beauty in herself that other people told her that she had, and she just kept going under the knife over and over and over again and was never satisfied with the person in the mirror because of body dysmorphia. And this comes from the National Addiction Center. As with any addiction, plastic surgery addiction begins with an initial positive experience. When someone who lives with a debilitating insecurity feels better about their appearance after the first operation, they may decide to do another one to correct another flaw. As soon as plastic surgery becomes the solution to negative self-perception, some people will sign up for as many procedures as they can afford. And another thing that people don't talk about with plastic surgery too is like the upkeep of it all. It's like a lot of times when you get something done once, it can last for a certain period of time, but then it'll fall again. Like a facelift, I think only lasts like 10 years or so, if I'm not mistaken. And boob jobs, like your implants are supposed to be replaced after so long, and so many other plastic surgeries that require upkeep. So it's inevitable that if you get it done once, you're gonna have to get it done twice. You're gonna have to get something done 3 times. Next thing you know, you have gone under the knife over and over and over again to a point where you're unrecognizable because you don't know when to stop. You really don't know when to stop until one day you look on social media and people are dragging you and saying that you're unrecognizable. Like, you don't really know when too much is too much. I discussed this at length in my Pretty Privilege and the Politics of Desirability video, the way that you look is not just about, you know, who you get to date, who you get to sleep with. The way that you look dictates the quality of your life, what kinds of jobs you're able to attain, how financially secure you're able to become. It plays a role in so many factors of all facets of our lives. So for anyone to think, oh my God, like you should just love yourself. Like, why would you seek out so much cosmetic surgery when, you know, you just need to love yourself? Yes, of course you need to love yourself. But I've said this before on my channel as well. You cannot self-love yourself out of structural oppression. At the end of the day, the world is going to oppress. It's going to do what the world does. It's going to oppress the people that are most marginalized. It's going to oppress the people that do not have the features that are deemed to be desirable. And at the end of the day, people have to live in the world. The world does not live in you. So as much as you could have self-love and love yourself, people are going to continue to seek cosmetic surgery so long as we live in a world in which desirability is such a huge factor, particularly when you're a woman, is such a huge factor in the quality of your life. Madonna recently caused quite the stir after she showed up at the Grammys with a seemingly unrecognizable face. And Madonna responded by saying that, once again, I am caught in the glare of ageism and misogyny that permeates the world we live in, a world that refuses to celebrate women past the age of 45 and feels the need to punish her if she continues to be strong-willed, hardworking, and adventurous. Her surgery was quite glaringly obvious. I think it's when you get so much surgery to a point where it's like obvious, that's when it's like, oh, gotta call this out. There's plenty of celebrities that have gotten significant amounts of plastic surgery that no one ever calls out for having had surgery because they don't look like they've had a lot of surgery. I think in Madonna's case, it's very obvious and it's very dramatic and it's very just like hard not to notice the obvious shift in her face. She is right in calling out the ageism that very much exists in Hollywood. I mean, when you are a woman in Hollywood, if you're past the age of, she said 45, but I think if you're even past the age of like 30, you're having a hard time. I think 45 is even pushing it. Maggie Gyllenhaal said that one of the most disappointing things about Hollywood is its ageism. And she talked about the time that a producer told her that she was too old for a role. And she was only 37 at the time. And the man who was playing her love interest was 55 years old. And she was the only one who was told that she was too old for the role. Or Olivia Wilde, who auditioned for the role of Naomi in The Wolf of Wall Street and was told that she was too old for the role. And she was only 28. Leonardo DiCaprio was 39 at the time. But who was told that they were too old for the role? That would be Olivia Wilde. So we know that ageism does in fact run rampant in Hollywood. It makes a lot of sense why a lot of particularly women seek out cosmetic surgery in such alarmingly high numbers because of the pressure and the ageism, which is linked to misogyny, that they experience. Another reason why celebrities get plastic surgery in alarmingly high numbers to a point where they are unrecognizable is because they don't want to look like us. I really do believe that it is a status symbol for them. I know for us normal people, we look at these celebrities and we're like, how can they ruin their face like that? Why do they look like that? They look terrible. But for them, when your environment consists of people who are surrounding you who all look like that, everybody looks like that. Everybody's filling their face within an inch of their life. Everybody's Botoxing up their face within an inch of their life. Everybody's getting nose jobs. Everyone's getting everything done. Everyone looks like that fake and plastic and porcelain in Hollywood. So at the end of the day, I think that we saw that with the BBLs, like the Kardashians and others. Like they saw how much regular people were using their care credit installment plans to get BBLs or fly out to DR or wherever, Mexico, to get a BBL. And they said, oh, we gonna get a skinny BBL. We gotta take it out. Like the normies are having that same aesthetic. So we have to like correct course because they don't want to look like us. Them having all of this plastic surgery is a status symbol for them to separate them from us. You know, they want to look extraordinary. They don't want to look ordinary. The problem with that is when the 1% or the 2%, the upper 1 or 2% of people are rushing to get these surgeries to look a certain way, guess what? Inevitably, the rest of us 98%ers are not going to be able to have that same aesthetic. So that's when you get people flying out to Mexico or to the Dominican Republic or to whatever crockpot pseudo medical professional who is injecting people with cement, injecting people's butts with cement out of a seedy hotel room. And then you see all of these women dying on the operating room table because of that. Because inevitably, when you set these trends and the poors don't have access to the funds to go to Dr. Miami or Dr. 90210, they are going to end up with a wealth of health problems, okay? Or losing their lives due to chasing these aesthetics, right? Because ultimately, we can't all afford it. And it's not meant for us to afford. But inevitably, stan culture, celebrity worship is pushed down our throats to a point of like, we feel like we need to look to them as the trendsetters. But the thing is, it's giving lost souls, guiding lost souls energy because they're lost, they're empty inside, they're not happy, but we see their aesthetic, we see the look that they are projecting on social media and on red carpets and whatever, and we think that these are people that we need to aspire to, but we shouldn't aspire to them because they are not happy with themselves either. Like, they're not. That's why you're constantly hearing about celebrities ODing and being addicts and all kinds of issues because of this very reason, because they're unhappy with themselves and we're looking to them for guidance. Lost souls are guiding lost souls. And I also think about Jennifer Grey, who famously got a nose job after her career-defining role in Dirty Dancing, opposite of Patrick Swayze, right? Everyone loved her and they loved her look because she looked so unique and she had her own look, and then she went and got a nose job, completely destroyed her career. Completely. And this was back in the 80s where people were embracing a much more natural look. And so this plastic porcelain style that we see in 2023 was very much not in style back then. So it actually made her a pariah because it backfired, because people could no longer recognize her and she no longer had that relatable everyday girl look that people fell in love with when they saw her in Dirty Dancing.
The beauty of this.
Never wanted a nose job, and I fought like crazy because I just felt like I came from a family of nose jobs, of immigrant families who assimilated in show business. It was done in the 50s. You came from Ukraine, where my Eastern, European grandparents came over, and they were supposed to be American. An American meant lose the last name, lose the nose, be American.
There's a reason why so many of us, especially women, don't like our noses. It's because we turn on the TV and 99.99999% of celebrities have had a rhinoplasty. But a small and dainty nose is not for everyone. It's not for everyone. I don't know who needs to hear this, but it's not for everyone. But we see all of these celebrities with these small, dainty, defined noses, and we think that that's the aesthetic that we need to have. Meanwhile, that's not for everyone. We've literally had Bella Hadid say that she got a nose job when she was just 14 years old. She said that she always felt like she was the quote uglier sister, and her insecurities led her to get a nose job when she was only 14 years old. And she's expressed that she regrets it because she got rid of her Palestinian features. And reality TV star Blac Chyna has been documenting removing her breast implants and silicone butt injections and filler on social media, stating that she started getting surgeries when she was way too young and she didn't even give her body time to fully develop.
So I'm on my way now to get some more of the fillers dissolved. I already have the structure. I don't even know why I even did all the fillers. Well, I did them because everybody was doing it. So let this be a lesson. Don't even do it, y'all. It's not even worth it. And besides, I did it when I was so young. I didn't need to give my body time to fully develop. So we try to do these things at a very young age. Just trust me, it's gonna come. You're gonna get the snatch face that you need and that you want as you get older. Then when you get older, you're gonna be like, oh, I miss my baby face.
I think it's so fascinating how she says that she literally only got filler in her face because everybody else was doing it. And I just wonder how many other young women and girls are doing the same. Like, we are literally treating our bodies and our faces like trends because, as she says, everybody else is doing it. So these things don't happen in a vacuum. But I'm just so happy that Blac Chyna is on this journey, just realizing that she should follow her heart and what she wants to do rather than following a trend.
You know, as women, like, we want to look the best and like as fake as possible and plastic, and everything needs to be perfect and this and that, but that's not normal. You know, that comes from like insecurity and different things of that sort, and just being in that certain kind of life and lifestyle. Kind of done with that type of lifestyle, and I just want to step into my own and own it.
I really enjoy channels like Lauryn Hill. There are a number of plastic surgeons who dissect celebrity plastic surgery and lift the veil of beauty, so to speak. I think that's like Lori's like catchphrase. And I really have appreciated those people's channels and how they like really analyze it and talk about how much plastic surgery is so pervasive in Hollywood. Lori in particular has said like the goal of her channel is to allow people to see that, you know, this is not real. This is not attainable beauty. You have had several procedures done and that's why you look like this. And she's also done a really good job of talking about the reasons why celebrities seek plastic surgery in such high numbers because of the pressures that we talked about earlier of being in the public eye, right? When we talk about the reasoning that people are getting plastic surgery is because of trauma, because of insecurity due to misogyny and ageism and so on and so forth. I'm very compassionate towards people who have gotten lots of plastic surgery. I don't necessarily see a utility in dragging them and just saying like, how could you ruin your face? And like, you know, you're so shallow, you're so this and you're so that. Like, I don't think the conversation should end there either, but I also don't think the conversation should end at Hollywood is really misogynistic, or the world in general, it's not just Hollywood, is really misogynistic. So this is why women in particular, not just women, men too, like Michael Jackson and Mickey Rourke and Zac Efron, but definitely it's disproportionately women who are getting these procedures done more so than men. I think that we need to focus more on creating a world and creating an environment in which women are not measured and people in general are not measured solely based on what they look like, right? And I think that that culture looks like abolition culture. It looks like actively trying to dismantle misogyny, actively trying to dismantle the politics of desirability, actively trying to dismantle these systems, anti-fatness, whatever the case may be, in order to stop people from getting surgery in alarmingly high numbers. I don't think it's useful to place all the blame on the individual for being shallow and superficial because, yeah, they might be fine, whatever, but we live in a shallow and superficial world. So we are all adapting to the world that we live in. And so it may not happen in my lifetime. Some people will say, that's never going to happen, Ashley. You're never going to get rid of misogyny. You're never going to get rid of women being measured by the way that they look like. However, it may not happen in my lifetime. I think about like if the civil rights leaders and anybody who's the women's rights leaders and anybody who's ever made a difference in this world had that same mindset, then we would have had no change or no progression of our society. Obviously, there's still a ways to go as it relates to several different movements for, you know, rights and for equity and justice for marginalized groups. Like there's so much work to be done, but I think we take a lot of it for granted what our forefathers and foremothers did for us because we were born into it. I was born into a society where, you know, women can have their own bank accounts. And so I take that for granted. But guess what? It was only like less than 100 years ago that we couldn't even have our own bank accounts. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the change may not happen in my lifetime. I may not even live to see. I know I won't live to see the end of misogyny and sexism and all of the various isms that exist in the world. It's about laying the groundwork, creating a framework for future generations and generations after them, the generation after them, to have a little bit of a better world. So all that to say that we may not see the change in our lifetime, but I don't think there's any utility in shaming the individual, because this is a systemic issue of desirability, and that being the paramount focus or paramount value that's placed on a woman in particular. So if you take nothing else away from today's video, I want you to take away the fact that you are not the problem for your insecurities. There is a system of a world on top of our individual family trauma. There's a world around us that is indoctrinating us with what is beautiful and what is not beautiful, or rather who is beautiful and who is not beautiful, what features are considered desirable, what features are not considered desirable. You know what I'm saying? On top of that, you add in individualized family trauma into the mix. Yeah, the kids are not all right. The kids are not going to be all right until the world is all right first. Never has my ending quote that I use at the end of all of my videos felt so topical, so relevant, so powerful than for this video. So in conclusion, I do want to leave you with a quote from Fannie Lou Hamer, and that quote is, "Nobody's free until everybody's free." Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up, and if you really liked it, then definitely hit that subscribe button for more content like this. I love you all so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you all next time.